Hey guys, Dirt here. Welcome back to another edition of Formers Friday here on the Pop Culture Network. Now today, thanks to Nick Ochoa, we've got a couple new Transformers we're going to be looking at over the next couple weeks. Starting today with Scoop, and he comes with the little Target Master guys. Now before we get into him, I should point out that it does come packed with a comic book, and it's got Scoop and the Target Master guys on the cover. We'll throw this in real quick. You can take a look at that. Now, the funny thing is that this particular issue, it's not really a Scoop comic. It looks like sometimes in the past they went for issues of Transformers Spotlight or something that were focused on the individual character that is in the toy. But this one is actually Transformers More Than Meets the Eye issue 23, which they just released with a new cover. So it's basically just a variant of More Than Meets the Eye 23, although they did print on the inside down there in the credits that this is Dark Cybertron number 2 first printing, which is kind of funny, but it's the same story that we find in Transformers More Than Meets the Eye 23. Now this just came out in November of last year. This is a great storyline. If you haven't been reading Dark Cybertron, you probably should. It's a Shockwave story, so a lot of you guys are going to dig that. So first, let's hop in here and take a look at Scoop. And we can see here that he's got the Target Master guys. Now I've attached him to these little peg holes down here by the wheels. They can attach there. It doesn't seem like they're really supposed to, but they do have the peg holes there where they can go in. There are also holes here on the back, which you can peg them into if you want to put them up there and have them on top of the cab, or you can take them and put them, there are these holes here, but these holes don't really work in the gun mode. If you take the gun mode piece and you try to stick it in there, the wheel actually gets in the way and it doesn't really want to stick into place, although it does actually work pretty well if you turn them into robot mode, and if you want to have the robots just kind of like standing on the wheel well, you can kind of attach them that way. So I'm not really sure what the point of having those there are, but anyway, we'll take a quick look first at these two guys. As Target Masters, they are robots that turn into guns. So they turn into these, weapons. These are, let's see, Hole Punch and Caliburst. I'm not sure which is which. I don't know if it really matters. But regardless, they turn into the guns, and then you flip out the arms, you flip back the headpiece there, and you rotate that in between the legs, and now it's a little robot. Now, they did put them, the arms on these ball joints, which actually makes them really kind of mobile. My light is flickering. Stop flickering. Stop. Well, that's very annoying. Here, that seems to work. Alright. Sorry about that. So, you can rotate them like that, but they still have this little piece kind of stuck in here. You can kind of pull the legs apart and force that out if you want it out, just to make the robots look better if you were going to display them in robot mode. But the thing about these is that they're supposed to be able to go together to make some kind of super weapon. And basically how that works is there's a little tab here or here on their heads, and each character has a hole in his back covered by the arms there, and if you attach those together, then you can make the two guns come together as one, and then however you want to have your guy hold him here or hold him up here, you can kind of push the other ones back, and it can go the other way too. If you want to put this one on top, you can do that as well. Put the arms into place, and there you go. Not exactly the best looking transformation, but I mean, they are tiny little guys. There's only so much you can do. Someone else noted online, and I forgot where, somewhere on one of the message boards, maybe ours at jointheforums.com, the official forums of the Pop Culture Network, that the arms, when you push them together, they make a little hole there that you could actually kind of stick it in there. If you want to force it, play around with a little bit, you can see how there is a little hole there, and you can kind of jam it down in there and it kind of sticks. Kind of doesn't, but leave that up to you if you want to mess with that or not. But anyway, there are those guys, and it's just a silly little gimmick, you know, the Target Master gimmick, but I mean, at least they're there, they're included, they're part of the history of Transformers, so you get them in the figure, and that's alright. Now, the main figure of Scoop itself, some people have complained that the orange is too bright on him in the loader, but I don't know, I think it looks fine, considering some of the other colors they've used for the construction guys is bright yellow or green. I don't think it's really that big of a problem. One thing I want to point out is on the packaging, it actually shows him as being orange, but with a yellow front on his bucket, and even when he's transformed, you can see that the yellow is there on the bucket for whatever reason. Here he's just actually all yellow. So I don't know if that was a production change or just an error when they made the sample for the packaging. But regardless, I think it looks definitely a lot better being all orange instead of having that yellow. Another thing that's kind of nifty is that if you look in the cab here, his head is actually right up in the cab. Which is kind of freaky at first, but it works really well. It's kind of a neat effect. I enjoy the humor of seeing that giant robot head in there. One other thing to point out in this mode is that the headpiece here, it looks like it was actually all molded in that translucent plastic, and then they just painted the orange on top. So unlike these other parts that were actually molded in the orange, this piece does stand out as looking different because it was molded in a different color, and then they tried to paint it to match. It doesn't quite match, but you know, it does okay. The wheels are plastic. They are not rubberized at all, so they're just hard plastic wheels, and overall it feels very light. Most of these pieces are just kind of hollow. Several years ago, I remember people complaining about Hasbro and how they were hollowing out a lot of the figures, and it does continue with, you know, their modern figures. It's still very light, but at the same time, it doesn't look hollow. When you look at it really from any angle, it looks solid. So, I mean, as far as the quality of it, not having those thick, solid pieces, to give it stability and to help it, hold together over time, you are losing that, but at the same time, I think it looks pretty good overall. The biggest factor being just what you have in modern toys with the metal pegs sticking through the color, but otherwise, I think it actually looks pretty nice. And as far as some of these Transformers go, I'm actually pretty happy with the overall look of him and the overall way in which you can, basically play with him and pose him even in this mode, which is normally not a mode that, gets a whole lot of attention to detail. It does work out pretty good. So, alright, having said all that, now using our magical video editing process, we are going to make this guy transform, and there he is in his robot glory. Let's throw him into the photo tent and take a look here. Now in this mode, I actually think he looks pretty good overall. I like the look of the robot. Again, I like the bulkier style, unlike, what we see with the Bayformers and whatnot. His chest piece, part of the transformation is the chest piece actually moves, so you can kind of open him up, and you've got some, circuitry and paneling in there, which I think actually is a nice touch and looks very nice on him. Let's see, the scoop kind of folds back out of the way and covers up the cab in the back, and I think that's kind of a nice touch, the way it looks overall. Kind of like, if you'd have a backpack or jetpack or something on the back of them, and of course being in the upper torso just kind of makes sense to the overall weight and shape of the figure. It looks very nice. Now, one thing I said earlier when we had the Target Master guys that the holes on the wheel well didn't really seem to have much use, and I was wondering if maybe in robot mode there was some way to actually connect them on there, but there's not. In robot mode, those holes are down here by the feet. And again, the wheel is in the way. The wheel doesn't get out of the way at all. So it still has really no use there. I'm just wondering if maybe they put those on there just to kind of mirror some of the other ones, as if it's hiding the fact that that's where those would attach if you're going to logically go through a little further on your Transformers. I guess that could be the argument that you would make. Let's kind of zoom in a little bit here. All right, now going back to our Target Master guys, since they do turn into hand weapons, they turn into these pistols. Basically, you just bring them in and peg them into his hand there, and there you go. He's holding a gun. And they do also, because they piece together as the bigger guns, you can just kind of take it, fold open those arms, attach the headpiece on, and there you go. Now it's a bigger gun. You can do it this way, so it's kind of like a big, rocket launcher type thing. Or if you want to, you can pull it off, kind of twist that one out of the way, plug it in, because it slides around. It's not the easiest thing to mess with, especially when they're together. If you push too hard, they pop apart. But there you go. You can do it that way as well. Assault rifle, I guess. And now his wrist does have the pegs there that when I first showed him in his alt mode, I had them attached there because, obviously if you're going to have giant guns attached to your vehicle, you want them attached to the fuel tanks stuck on the side. Makes sense. But you can also peg them there and give them, I don't know, like a Megatron type look, Soundwave type thing where he's got the giant thing attached to the side. So if you want to do that too, I guess you are more than free to do that as well. But again, one of the problems with the hollow plastic mode is when you turn them around to the back, you can see on the legs here, everything is just open and hollow. They did at least take it a step further, and they put all kinds of metal panels and some circuitry and stuff like that in there, some pipes and whatever. So it looks kind of like it's still part of the design of the figure, even though it's a big hollow spot. So unlike what we've seen in the past, like take these top empty area here in the leg where you just have this opening that's just kind of there for whatever reason, here they at least made it look halfway decent. The arms here, again, it's another spot where it's hollow, but as you can see, they put in some detailing in there, so at least it covers it up a little bit better and makes it look not as cheap. So overall, the Target Master gimmick is pretty weak, and I think it always was. It never was that spectacular a thing, but to see it again in this line, it's just nice to kind of be reminded of what the toys were like when you were a kid. If you had some of these, then it's a nice reminder of that. If you're newer to the line, and maybe you've seen some of those in the old catalogs, and you thought, wow, there's no way I'd ever get my hands on one of those, because you don't want to buy the vintage ones at expensive prices, then at least you get to play with the gimmick now. So you do have that available. So again, I want to say thanks to Nick Ochoa for getting this so that we could do the review on it. Some of you guys have asked for upcoming episodes if we could do some G1 reviews, which we'll do. We'll do maybe in about 2 weeks. We'll get to some of those. We got a couple other things planned before that. Going to the Beast Saga stuff I asked you guys about last week. Those of you who know what the Beast Saga stuff is, you were like, yeah, sure, that's great, throw it in there. Those of you who had no idea what Beast Saga was, you were really confused. So I've just decided we'll probably do that as a different, separate review somewhere on the website. So you're going to have to go to popculturenetwork.com and just look for that one to come up as a regular toy review, as opposed to being part of Formers Friday. We'll just stick in Formers Friday with straight mainline Transformers, and some of that, spin-off stuff, tie-in stuff we'll keep somewhere else. But I'll let you know on here when that goes up live on there. So Anyway, guys, don't forget you can go to popculturenetwork.com, check out more reviews, comic books, toys, video games. You can also go to jointheforums.com, the official forums of the Pop Culture Network. One of the longest running threads in the history of the Pop Culture Network is the post pics of your stuff, new and old, where people go to the store or the flea market or garage sale, whatever, find their latest goodies and post pictures of them on there, and then people just drool over them all day. So go make sure you check that out. You can find me on Twitter at PCN_dirt, or you can call our 24-hour voicemail line, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's area code 217-953-4025, where you can leave a voice message if you want to talk about Formers Friday, if you want to talk about any of the Blu-ray, DVD reviews, anything that we've got on our website. You can always leave us feedback there. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.